As life moves forward, many things begin to feel different. The way you think changes. The way you react to problems changes. The way you handle people, habits, time, and emotions also changes. Some of these changes are positive. Some of them quietly hold you back without you noticing. There comes a point where improvement is no longer optional. It becomes necessary for peace, stability, and long-term well-being. The habits you ignore today will shape how your life feels in the future. The way you handle your emotions, your discipline, your health, your relationships, and your daily choices all start to matter more with each passing year. This audiobook focuses on the areas of life that require honest improvement as you get older. Not in a harsh way, but in a clear and practical way. You will hear real guidance on how to build stronger discipline, manage emotions better, protect your peace, improve communication, use time wisely, and create a more stable and meaningful life. Some parts may feel uncomfortable to hear, because truth often feels that way. But that discomfort can also be the beginning of real change. If you stay with this, you will start to see your life differently. Not as something that just happens, but as something you can shape step by step through better daily decisions. Chapter 1. Build stronger self-discipline through daily, consistent, responsible actions. Self-discipline is not a gift that only a few people are born with. It is a habit built through repeated choices made in ordinary moments. As people grow older, they often begin to understand that life does not change because of one great decision. Life changes because of the small decisions that are repeated every day. The way you wake up, the way you speak to yourself, the way you handle discomfort, the way you respond when nobody is watching. These are the moments that shape your character. These are the moments that decide whether your life moves forward or stays trapped in the same place. Many people think self-discipline is about harsh rules or a strict personality. It is not. Self-discipline is the quiet ability to do what needs to be done, even when your feelings are weak, your motivation is low, or your mind tries to delay what matters. It is the habit of acting with purpose instead of living by impulse. It is choosing responsibility over comfort. It is choosing clarity over noise. It is choosing steady effort over emotional excuses. When you grow older, this becomes even more important, because time becomes more valuable and wasted days begin to feel heavier. You start to realize that each day matters, each habit matters. Each ignored responsibility becomes a burden that shows up later in stress, regret, and lost peace. A disciplined life is not built in one moment. It is built in the early morning when you get up at the time you said you would. It is built when you keep your word to yourself after nobody checks on you. It is built when you finish the work you promised to finish. It is built when you choose a healthy action, even though your body wants ease. It is built when you stay patient during frustration, instead of reacting in a way that makes things worse. These are not dramatic choices. They are simple choices. But simple choices done consistently can change everything. One of the biggest mistakes people make as they get older is waiting for the right mood before they act. They tell themselves they will start when they feel ready. They wait for energy. They wait for inspiration. They wait for a better day. But discipline does not grow from waiting. It grows from movement. A person becomes more reliable by doing reliable things. A person becomes more focused by practicing focus. A person becomes stronger by doing hard things regularly. The mind learns from repetition. If you repeatedly obey your feelings become the boss. If you repeatedly follow your values become the leader. A responsible life begins with honest self-awareness. You have to stop pretending that your habits do not matter. They do matter. A few careless actions each day create a careless life. A few responsible actions each day create a stable life. There is no mystery in this. The truth is plain. If you keep leaving things unfinished, you will feel mentally heavy. If you keep ignoring your duties, you will feel inner pressure. If you keep making promises and breaking them, you will weaken trust in yourself. On the other hand, if you start keeping small promises, you will begin to feel a different kind of strength. You will feel grounded. You will feel calm. You will feel capable. That is where real confidence begins, not from praise, not from appearance, not from words that sound good but vanish quickly. Real confidence begins when your own mind knows you are dependable. When you say you will do something, and you do it, your mind learns that your words mean something. This is powerful. People often search for confidence in external approval when it is waiting for them inside their own behavior. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your identity. Every time you break one, you weaken it. Your life becomes a reflection of your repeated actions. Start with the smallest areas. Do not begin by trying to change everything at once. That often leads to frustration. Begin with one simple responsibility and treat it seriously. Wake up at the same time every day. Make your bed. Drink water before checking your phone. Clean the space you use. Finish one task before starting another. Write down what must be done and do not allow your day to drift without direction. These may seem like small things, but they train the mind to respect order. A person who cannot manage small responsibilities will struggle with larger ones. A person who learns to handle small duties with care develops inner strength that can support a larger life. There is dignity in doing ordinary things well. There is peace in a clean routine. There is power in a steady schedule. When your daily actions are scattered, your mind becomes scattered too. When your daily actions are intentional, your mind becomes more settled. Discipline is not only about achievement, it is also about peace. A person who lives without discipline often feels rushed, guilty, and mentally tired. A person who lives with discipline may still face stress, but will not be destroyed by it. Why? Because disciplined people know where they stand. They know what they are doing. They know what matters. Their days may be full, but their minds are not constantly fighting themselves. If you want stronger self-discipline, you must learn to respect your own time. Time is one of the most serious gifts you have. It cannot be stored. It cannot be paused. It cannot be returned once spent. Yet many people give it away carelessly. They let distractions steal their hours. They let small comforts delay important work. They let their attention scatter across useless habits. Then they wonder why life feels unfinished. The answer is simple. A disciplined person protects time because time is life in motion. If you waste time, you waste opportunity. If you use time wisely, you build a future. This does not mean you must live without rest. Rest is necessary, but rest should be chosen with awareness, not used as an escape from responsibility. There is a difference between rest and avoidance. Rest restores you. Avoidance weakens you. A disciplined person knows when to pause and when to push forward. They understand that fatigue is real, but they do not let every feeling decide their actions. They do not worship comfort. They understand that some discomfort is part of growth. A stronger body is built through effort. A stronger mind is built through challenge. A stronger character is built through responsibility. One practical way to build self-discipline is to create a morning routine that removes confusion from the start of the day. The first minutes of the morning often shape the rest of the day. If you begin with chaos, your mind stays open to chaos. If you begin with order, your mind settles into order. Wake up and do the same few important things each day. Do not flood your morning with noise. Do not allow your phone to control your attention before your own thoughts are clear. Give your mind a chance to become awake before it becomes occupied. A calm morning can become the first victory of the day. Another way to strengthen discipline is to finish what you start. Unfinished tasks drain energy. They sit in the mind and take space. They remind you of your own delay. The habit of starting without finishing creates a restless life. The habit of finishing creates confidence and relief. Even simple duties matter. Reply to the message, complete the exercise, pay the bill, read the chapter, wash the dish, organize the drawer, call the person. Do not let minor responsibilities pile up into mental weight. A responsible person clears what can be cleared. They do not let their life become a collection of unfinished intentions. Self-discipline also grows when you learn to keep your word in private. Public promises are easy to respect because other people hear them. Private promises are where your true character is shaped. If you say you will walk for 20 minutes, then do it. If you say you will stop eating late at night, then honor that promise. If you say you will spend 1 hour learning something new, then protect that hour. These private acts matter because they teach your mind that your own standards are real. A person who keeps promises only when others are watching is not disciplined. A person who honors their word in silence is building real strength. There will be days when you do not feel like doing what is right. That is normal. Discipline is not the absence of resistance. Discipline is the ability to move forward through resistance. On those days, reduce the size of the task if needed, but do not abandon it completely. If you cannot do the full workout, do a short one. If you cannot complete the full project, do the next step. If you cannot clean the whole room, clean one area. Momentum matters. Small action is better than no action. The mind respects movement. Even a modest effort can keep your identity alive. It reminds you that your standards still matter. As you get older, your standards should become clearer. You should know what kind of person you are trying to be. Not in a vague way, but in a practical way. Are you the person who speaks honestly? Are you the person who keeps commitments? Are you the person who handles pressure without falling apart? Are you the person who stays useful to your family? Are you the person who remains teachable? Are you the person who can be counted on? These questions matter because discipline is not only about personal success. It is about becoming someone who can live with integrity. A life with integrity feels lighter because it does not require constant self-deception. One of the harsh truths of adulthood is that nobody will do your inner work for you. Nobody can force you to become reliable. Nobody can force you to build habits that support your future. Nobody can stop you from making poor choices in secret. That is why discipline is so valuable. It gives you inner authority. It helps you lead yourself. A person who cannot lead themselves will be easily pulled around by circumstances. A disciplined person may still suffer, but they will not be lost. They know how to return to center. They know how to act despite discomfort. They know how to continue. It helps to remember that discipline is not punishment. Many people resist discipline because they think it means constant pressure and no joy. That is a misunderstanding. Discipline actually creates more freedom. When you are disciplined, you are less controlled by chaos. You do not have to live in the stress of last-minute decisions. You do not have to depend on mood. You do not have to keep repairing the damage of neglect. Discipline creates room for peace because it reduces unnecessary problems. It is easier to enjoy life when your responsibilities are in order. It is easier to rest when you know you have handled what matters. It is easier to feel proud of yourself when your actions match your values. Think about the people who seem to age well in mind and spirit. They are often not the loudest people. They are not always the richest or the most admired. Often they are the ones who built steady habits. They live with order. They keep learning. They stay responsible. They do not allow bitterness to rule them. They know how to carry duty with calm. Their strength comes from repetition. Their peace comes from self-control. Their confidence comes from a life that is not split against itself. That is the kind of maturity that deserves respect. To move in that direction, you must stop waiting for a version of yourself that magically appears later. The future self is built by present behavior. Every act of discipline today becomes part of the person you become tomorrow. If you repeatedly make excuses today, the future will reflect that pattern. If you repeatedly choose responsibility today, the future will carry that strength. This is why small actions are never truly small. They are the building blocks of identity. Your life is not only shaped by what you believe, it is shaped by what you do. When beliefs are tested, there is also great value in creating boundaries with your own impulses. Not every desire deserves action. Not every thought deserves attention. Not every comfort should be accepted. Part of maturity is learning to pause before reacting. When you feel the urge to delay a task, ask yourself whether that choice will help you or weaken you. When you feel the urge to take the easy route, ask yourself what it will cost later. When you feel the urge to escape responsibility, ask yourself what kind of life that habit builds. This simple habit of questioning impulse can change the direction of your days. It creates a gap between feeling and action, and that gap is where discipline grows. Another strong practice is to review your day honestly each evening. Ask yourself whether you used your time well. Ask yourself where you followed through and where you failed yourself. Ask yourself what needs correction tomorrow. This is not about guilt, it is about clarity. Honest reflection sharpens discipline because it removes illusion. Many people remain stuck because they never examine their own patterns. They repeat the same mistakes and call it normal. But normal is not always healthy. A disciplined person is willing to look at reality without excuses. They want truth because truth makes improvement possible. Over time, the rewards of discipline become visible in quiet ways. You feel less anxious because your life is less chaotic. You feel less ashamed because you are keeping your word more often. You feel more stable because your habits are supporting you instead of weakening you. Other people begin to trust you more because they can rely on your actions. Most importantly, you begin to trust yourself. That trust is one of the greatest forms of strength a person can have. When you trust yourself, you are no longer divided inside. Your mind is not constantly arguing with your behavior. Your word and your actions start moving together. Even your hard days become more manageable when you are disciplined. Pain still arrives. Stress still arrives. Disappointment still arrives. But disciplined people do not collapse as easily because they have built structure around themselves. They already know how to keep moving. They already know how to do the next right thing. They already know how to stay steady when emotions rise. That steadiness is priceless. It does not remove hardship, but it prevents hardship from taking over the whole person. If you are older and looking back at your life with regret, over missed time or broken habits, do not use that regret to shame yourself. Use it to wake yourself up. The past cannot be edited, but the present still matters. You still have a chance to become more disciplined. You still have a chance to create order. You still have a chance to repair trust with yourself. Growth is not reserved for the young. It belongs to anyone willing to begin again with honesty and patience. The heart can still learn. The mind can still change. The habits can still improve. The path forward is simple, though not always easy. Choose one responsibility and respect it every day. Choose one habit and protect it. Choose one area of weakness and bring discipline to it. Do not demand perfection. Demand consistency. Do not aim for a dramatic transformation overnight. Aim for steady improvement that can survive real life. One disciplined day repeated many times becomes a disciplined life. One responsible choice repeated often becomes character. One honest effort at a time becomes a stronger future. There is a deep peace that comes from knowing you are doing your part. Life will still test you. Some days will still feel heavy. Some situations will still be beyond your control. But self-discipline gives you something reliable inside those changing conditions. It gives you direction. It gives you structure. It gives you dignity. It teaches you that your life is not only shaped by what happens to you, but by how you choose to live within what happens to you. That is a powerful lesson and a mature one. So begin where you are, not with grand promises, not with intense pressure. Begin with clear actions. Wake up and act. Plan and follow through. Speak less about change and do more of it. Respect your time. Honor your word. Accept discomfort when it serves your growth. Refuse laziness when it weakens your future. Keep going when motivation fades. Keep showing up when no one applauds. Keep building the kind of life that can support your peace. Self-discipline is not about becoming rigid. It is about becoming dependable. It is about becoming calm enough to act wisely and strong enough to follow through. It is about choosing the long good over the short comfort. As you grow older, this lesson becomes more important, not less. Life rewards the person who can govern themselves. Life becomes lighter for the person who can carry responsibility with grace. And every day offers a new chance to become that person. Begin today. Choose the right action. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. That is how strength is built. That is how trust is rebuilt. That is how a life becomes honorable, peaceful, and worth remembering. Chapter 2. Improve emotional control during difficult, stressful, and painful life moments. Pain changes people. Stress changes people. Disappointment changes people. As you grow older, you begin to notice that emotional reactions can either protect your life or slowly damage it. A moment of anger can destroy trust built over years. A few minutes of panic can lead to terrible decisions. One emotional outburst can create regret that stays in the heart for a long time. This is why emotional control becomes one of the most important skills a person can develop with age. It is not about becoming cold or emotionless. It is about learning how to stay steady when life becomes difficult. It is about remaining thoughtful when pressure rises around you. It is about protecting your peace when everything inside you wants to react without thinking. Most people are controlled by emotions they never learned to understand. They become angry and immediately speak. They become hurt and immediately withdraw. They become anxious and immediately assume the worst. Their feelings move faster than their wisdom. Over time, this creates unstable relationships, unnecessary conflict, and constant mental exhaustion. A person without emotional control often lives in reaction mode. Their mood decides their behavior. Their stress controls their words. Their frustration controls their choices. This creates a life filled with emotional noise. A calmer life begins when you stop treating every emotion like a command. Feelings are real, but they are not always correct. You can feel angry and still be wrong. You can feel afraid and still be safe. You can feel rejected and still be valued. Emotional maturity begins when you create space between what you feel and what you choose to do. That small pause can save relationships, careers, health, and peace of mind. It allows wisdom to enter the moment before damage is done. Many difficult situations do not require immediate reaction. They require patience. They require observation. They require a calm mind that can see beyond the temporary emotion. During stressful moments, the body becomes tense. Breathing changes. Thoughts become rushed. The mind starts creating extreme conclusions. In those moments, you must train yourself to slow down instead of speeding up emotionally. Slower response is often a wiser response. Silence is sometimes stronger than emotional argument. Calm thinking is often more powerful than loud emotion. As people grow older, they often carry emotional wounds from many stages of life. Betrayal, failure, rejection, loss, financial pressure, family problems, broken trust, unmet expectations. These experiences leave emotional marks inside the mind. If these wounds are ignored, they begin controlling behavior without the person realizing it. Some people become defensive all the time. Some become emotionally distant. Some become angry over small things because deeper pain was never faced honestly. Emotional control requires self-awareness. You must understand what triggers you and why it affects you so deeply. There is strength in admitting that certain situations still hurt you. Pretending to be unaffected does not heal pain. Ignoring emotions does not create peace. Real emotional discipline comes from understanding your feelings without becoming controlled by them. When sadness appears, you acknowledge it without collapsing. When anger rises, you notice it without becoming destructive. When fear enters your thoughts, you remain grounded instead of surrendering to panic. This balance takes practice. Nobody masters it overnight. But every moment of awareness builds inner stability. One of the most useful habits during painful moments is learning how to stay physically calm. The body and mind influence each other constantly. During stress, many people breathe too quickly, tense their muscles, raise their voice, and move with nervous energy. This increases emotional intensity. Slowing your breathing can calm the nervous system. Sitting quietly for a few moments can help your thoughts settle. Walking slowly outside can reduce mental pressure. Drinking water and stepping away from an argument for a short time can prevent emotional damage. Simple physical actions can interrupt emotional chaos before it grows larger. Another important lesson is understanding that not every battle deserves your energy. As people age, they begin to realize how exhausting constant conflict can become. Some arguments lead nowhere. Some people enjoy negativity. Some situations cannot be fixed through emotional force. Emotional control means knowing when to respond and when to walk away. Protecting your peace sometimes means refusing to participate in unnecessary drama. A calm person does not need to win every disagreement. They value peace more than pride. There will be moments when people misunderstand you unfairly. Some may judge your intentions incorrectly. Others may criticize you without understanding your struggles. Emotional control helps you avoid making your pain worse through impulsive reactions. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need to defend your worth in every conversation. Mature people understand that being misunderstood is part of life. They focus more on living with integrity than controlling every opinion around them. Stress also becomes more dangerous when it is ignored for long periods. Many people carry emotional pressure silently until their mind and body begin breaking down. Sleepless nights increase, patience disappears, small problems feel overwhelming, physical energy drops. Emotional control is not about pretending stress does not exist. It is about handling stress responsibly before it destroys your health and relationships. This means creating moments of recovery inside daily life. Quiet time matters, reflection matters, rest matters. A constantly overwhelmed mind cannot think clearly. The modern world constantly pushes people into emotional overload. Endless noise, constant comparison, negative news, social pressure, fast communication, unrealistic expectations. Many people never allow their minds to become still. Their emotions remain constantly active. A peaceful mind requires boundaries. You must protect your attention carefully. Not every piece of information deserves access to your emotional state. Not every problem in the world must live inside your mind every hour of the day. One powerful form of emotional discipline is learning how to speak carefully during painful moments. Words spoken during anger often create wounds that remain long after the emotion disappears. A calm person chooses language with care. They do not use pain as permission to become cruel. They do not throw insults simply because they feel hurt. They understand that emotional reactions can leave permanent consequences. Strong people are not those who speak the loudest during conflict. Strong people are those who remain controlled when emotions rise. There is also wisdom in accepting that some pain cannot be avoided. Many emotional struggles come from trying to control what cannot be controlled. Aging, loss, change, disappointment, human behavior, uncertainty. These are realities of life. Fighting reality creates unnecessary suffering. Emotional control grows stronger when you accept difficult truths with dignity instead of resisting them endlessly. Acceptance does not mean weakness. It means seeing life clearly without emotional denial. During painful seasons, many people become emotionally consumed by the future. They imagine worst possible outcomes repeatedly. Their mind creates fear before reality even arrives. This habit destroys peace. A disciplined mind stays connected to the present moment. It focuses on what can be handled today. Most people suffer more in imagination than in reality. Training yourself to stay present reduces emotional suffering greatly. Ask yourself simple questions during stressful moments. What can I control right now? What action will help instead of harm? What response will I respect tomorrow morning? These questions bring clarity during emotional confusion. Another important part of emotional strength is learning not to take everything personally. As people mature, they realize that many negative behaviors from others come from their own pain, insecurity, or stress. Someone may speak harshly because they are overwhelmed. Someone may act cold because they are carrying hidden struggles. Understanding this does not excuse harmful behavior, but it prevents unnecessary emotional damage. Not every negative action is truly about you. Sometimes people are simply fighting battles you cannot see. Forgiveness also plays a major role in emotional peace. Holding bitterness for years poisons the mind slowly. Anger carried too long becomes emotional weight. It drains energy and keeps old pain alive. Forgiveness does not mean allowing mistreatment to continue. It means releasing the emotional grip the past has over your mind. Some people remain emotionally trapped because they keep reliving old injuries every day. Healing begins when you stop reopening wounds that time is trying to close. A person with emotional control understands the value of emotional privacy as well. Not every feeling needs public expression. Not every painful thought must be shared immediately. Some emotions need quiet reflection before conversation. Oversharing during emotional moments often creates regret later. Wise people process emotions carefully instead of spreading emotional chaos around them. They learn to speak after reflection rather than during emotional storms. Difficult moments also reveal the quality of your inner dialogue. The way you speak to yourself during pain matters greatly. Some people destroy themselves mentally during failure. They call themselves useless. They speak with cruelty inside their own mind. This weakens emotional resilience further. A disciplined person speaks honestly but not destructively. They acknowledge mistakes without attacking their own worth. They understand that growth requires correction but not self-hatred. As life becomes more demanding, emotional resilience becomes essential. Families depend on calm leadership. Children observe emotional behavior closely. Friends seek stability during difficult times. Workplaces test patience constantly. Emotional control helps you become someone others can trust during hard moments. Calm energy affects entire environments. One steady person can prevent chaos from spreading further. There will still be days when emotions feel heavy despite your efforts. Some wounds cut deeply, some disappointments arrive unexpectedly, some losses change life forever. Emotional control does not remove human pain. It teaches you how to carry pain without allowing it to destroy your character. Even during grief, you can remain kind. Even during stress, you can remain thoughtful. Even during uncertainty, you can remain grounded. Many older people eventually realize that peace is more valuable than constant emotional excitement. A peaceful life does not mean a perfect life. It means your mind is no longer fighting every situation aggressively. It means you stop creating additional suffering through uncontrolled reactions. Emotional peace comes from discipline. It comes from perspective. It comes from understanding that every emotion passes eventually. No painful feeling remains forever. Anger fades. Fear softens. Sadness changes shape with time. A patient mind survives emotional storms because it knows they are temporary. Building emotional control requires daily practice. Pay attention to your reactions. Observe your triggers. Notice when stress changes your tone of voice. Recognize when your thoughts become irrational during pressure. Slow yourself down before reacting impulsively. These small moments of awareness strengthen emotional discipline over time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Even small improvements create healthier relationships and a calmer inner life. As you grow older, your emotional habits shape the quality of your remaining years. Uncontrolled anger creates loneliness. Constant negativity damages relationships. Fear-driven living limits growth. But emotional stability creates trust, peace, wisdom, and resilience. It allows you to move through life with greater clarity. It protects your health. It strengthens your relationships. It helps you handle hardship with dignity. True emotional strength is quiet. It does not need attention. It does not seek drama. It remains steady during pressure. It listens before reacting. It chooses peace when possible. It accepts pain without surrendering to despair. It remains thoughtful when others become reckless emotionally. This kind of strength becomes more valuable with age because life continues testing the human spirit in many ways. Every difficult moment gives you a choice. You can react blindly or respond wisely. You can allow emotions to control your behavior, or you can guide your emotions with patience and awareness. One path creates regret, the other creates growth. Emotional control is not about suppressing your humanity. It is about protecting your future from temporary emotional decisions. A calm mind becomes one of the greatest forms of power a person can possess. When you remain steady during stressful moments, you think more clearly. You make better decisions. You protect important relationships. You preserve your dignity. You become stronger internally even when life around you feels uncertain. The world will continue presenting painful situations. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail sometimes. Stress will visit every stage of life. But emotional discipline allows you to remain centered through these experiences. It allows you to suffer without becoming bitter. It allows you to feel deeply without losing control completely. It allows you to continue living with wisdom even when life becomes difficult. That kind of emotional strength is not built through comfort. It is built through awareness, patience, reflection, and repeated self-control during hard moments. Over time, your reactions become calmer, your thoughts become clearer, your mind becomes more stable, and eventually you realize something important. The greatest victory is not controlling the world around you. The greatest victory is learning how to control yourself when the world becomes difficult. Chapter 3. Strengthen your confidence by keeping promises to yourself daily. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe confidence comes from praise, appearance, money, status, or talent. They think confident people are simply born different. But real confidence is built in a quieter and more personal way. It grows through trust. More specifically, it grows through self-trust. When you repeatedly keep promises to yourself, your mind begins to believe in you. Your actions prove that your words carry weight. Over time, this creates a deep inner stability that cannot easily be shaken by criticism, failure, or rejection. A person who constantly breaks promises to themselves slowly damages their own self-respect. Every delayed goal, every abandoned plan, every excuse repeated too many times leaves a mark on the mind. At first it may seem small, but after months or years the damage becomes visible. The person stops believing their own intentions. They say they will wake up early, but they do not. They say they will save money, but they overspend again. They say they will exercise, but they continue delaying it. Eventually, they stop taking their own words seriously. This weakens confidence more than most people realize. Confidence is not built through empty positive thinking. It is built through evidence. Your mind watches your behavior every day. It notices whether you follow through or quit. It notices whether you stay committed or become distracted easily. It notices whether you run from discomfort or face responsibility directly. The mind collects proof about who you are. That proof shapes your identity. If your actions repeatedly show discipline, your confidence grows naturally. If your actions repeatedly show avoidance, your self-belief weakens. As people grow older, they begin understanding how important self-trust truly is. Without it, every challenge feels heavier, every goal feels uncertain, every setback feels more personal. But when you trust yourself, life becomes different. You stop depending completely on outside approval. You stop needing constant encouragement from others. You become more emotionally steady because you know you can rely on your own effort. Keeping promises to yourself does not require dramatic actions. In fact, the smallest promises are often the most important because they happen daily. Drink the water you said you would drink. Read the pages you promised yourself. Finish the task before sleeping. Show up on time. Go for the walk. Stretch your body. Practice the skill. Keep the budget. Respect your bedtime. These simple actions may appear ordinary, but they quietly shape your identity every single day. One reason many people struggle with confidence is because they make promises based on emotion instead of realism. They become motivated for one night and create impossible expectations for themselves. They decide to completely change their life overnight, Then they fail within days because the plan was unrealistic. Failure itself is not the problem. The problem is repeatedly creating cycles of excitement followed by disappointment. This trains the mind to expect failure instead of progress. A wiser approach is to build confidence slowly through achievable consistency. Make smaller promises and protect them carefully. If you are not used to reading daily, then begin with 10 pages instead of forcing yourself through an entire book immediately. If exercise has been neglected for years, then begin with 20 minutes instead of exhausting yourself with extreme routines. Sustainable effort creates trust. Extreme temporary effort often creates burnout. The relationship you have with yourself matters deeply. Many people speak kindly to others, but harshly to themselves. They forgive other people for mistakes, but attack themselves for every failure. This creates inner tension and emotional exhaustion. Confidence cannot grow in an environment filled with constant self-criticism. Honest accountability is important, but cruelty toward yourself is destructive. A mature person learns how to correct mistakes without destroying their own spirit. Keeping promises to yourself also teaches emotional stability. There will be many days when motivation disappears completely. Some mornings will feel heavy. Some evenings will bring mental exhaustion. Some situations will test your patience. During those moments, confidence grows when you continue honoring your commitments anyway. Anyone can act with discipline when emotions feel strong and positive. Real character appears when you continue despite resistance. Many people spend years waiting to feel confident before taking action. In reality, action usually comes first. Confidence follows repeated effort. A person becomes more comfortable speaking after practicing communication many times. A person becomes stronger physically after consistent training. A person becomes mentally resilient after surviving difficult situations with patience. Confidence grows through lived experience. It cannot be developed only through thought. There is also a strong connection between confidence and honesty. When you lie to yourself often, your inner world becomes unstable. Some people constantly pretend they are doing better than they really are. They avoid facing uncomfortable truths about their habits, finances, health, or relationships. But avoidance creates weakness. Confidence requires honesty because honesty allows growth. You cannot improve a life you refuse to examine clearly. One powerful habit is learning to complete difficult tasks without constant emotional negotiation. Many people waste energy arguing with themselves mentally before every responsibility. They delay simple actions because they wait for perfect emotional conditions. Confident people still experience resistance, but they do not allow that resistance to control the outcome. They act even when comfort is absent. This creates momentum, and momentum strengthens belief in oneself. As people age, they often discover that confidence built on appearance or external success can disappear quickly. Physical beauty changes. Money can be lost. Social attention fades. Public approval shifts constantly. But confidence built on personal integrity remains stronger because it is connected to character rather than temporary conditions. A person who trusts their discipline, patience, honesty, and resilience carries confidence into every stage of life. Another important lesson is understanding that broken promises create emotional fatigue. Each unfinished responsibility stays alive inside the mind. The longer tasks remain ignored, the heavier they begin to feel emotionally. This creates quiet stress that follows people through daily life. A confident person does not carry endless unfinished business mentally. They handle responsibilities directly. They clear problems while they are still manageable. There is also great power in becoming dependable in private. Public achievements are easy to celebrate because other people notice them. Private discipline is different. It happens when nobody is watching. It appears in lonely mornings, quiet evenings, and ordinary routines. The person who remains responsible during unseen moments develops a stronger inner foundation than the person who only performs well for external praise. Many older adults carry regret because they spent years doubting themselves unnecessarily. They delayed opportunities because fear controlled them. They stayed silent when they should have spoken honestly. They abandoned dreams because they assumed failure before trying fully. Fear grows stronger when confidence is weak, but confidence becomes stronger when you repeatedly prove that you can handle discomfort and uncertainty without collapsing emotionally. Keeping promises to yourself also improves decision-making. When you trust your own judgment, you become less dependent on outside validation. You listen to advice wisely without surrendering your identity completely. You become more comfortable standing by your values even when other people disagree. A person without self-trust is easily influenced because they constantly question themselves internally. It is important to understand that confidence does not mean arrogance. Arrogance often hides insecurity. Truly confident people do not need to constantly prove their worth. They do not seek attention desperately. They do not feel threatened by other successful people. They remain grounded because their confidence comes from internal consistency rather than comparison. Comparison destroys confidence faster than almost anything else. Modern life constantly pushes people to compare achievements, appearance, money, relationships, and lifestyles. This creates unnecessary insecurity. Someone will always appear more successful in some area, but confidence grows when you focus on your own standards instead of endless comparison. The goal is not to become superior to others. The goal is to become more reliable than your past self. Another important truth is that confidence is strengthened through preparation. People often feel anxious because they know deep inside they have neglected important responsibilities. A student who studies consistently feels calmer before exams. A person who manages money wisely feels more secure during emergencies. A person who takes care of health feels more prepared for aging. Preparation reduces fear because it creates readiness. When life becomes difficult, your habits reveal the truth about your confidence. During stress, some people completely abandon structure. They stop caring for themselves. They stop following through. They lose direction quickly. Others remain grounded because they built strong habits long before the crisis arrived. Daily discipline becomes emotional protection during hard times. The mind feels safer when routines remain stable. Many people underestimate how much confidence can grow through simple physical actions. Standing upright changes energy. Finishing small tasks creates momentum. Organizing your environment creates mental clarity. Caring for your appearance respectfully improves self-perception. Exercise strengthens not only the body but also mental endurance. Physical neglect often affects emotional confidence deeply. Your environment also influences your ability to keep promises to yourself. Constant distractions weaken focus. Negative people weaken motivation. Disorganized surroundings create mental clutter. A wise person builds an environment that supports discipline instead of fighting against it daily. Remove unnecessary temptations. Create routines that reduce decision fatigue. Make responsible choices easier to maintain consistently. Another valuable lesson is learning how to recover after failure without completely giving up. Everyone breaks promises sometimes. Everyone experiences setbacks. Confidence is not destroyed by one bad day. It is destroyed when one bad day becomes a permanent excuse to quit. A resilient person returns to their commitments quickly. They do not waste months drowning in guilt over temporary mistakes. They learn, adjust, and continue moving. As you grow older, your confidence should become quieter but stronger. Younger people often seek loud validation because they are still building identity. Mature confidence feels calmer. It does not require constant praise. It is visible through consistency, responsibility, and emotional steadiness. People trust confident individuals because their behavior remains reliable over time. There is deep peace in knowing you can depend on yourself during difficult moments. Life becomes less frightening when you trust your ability to adapt, endure, and continue forward. Challenges still hurt. Loss still affects you emotionally. Stress still arrives. But self-trust prevents complete collapse, because you know your character has been strengthened through repeated discipline. A person who keeps promises to themselves develops dignity. They stop living through excuses. They stop making endless declarations without action. Their life becomes more aligned internally. Thoughts, values, and behavior begin working together instead of fighting each other constantly. This creates emotional stability that many people search for unsuccessfully in external achievements. One of the greatest forms of maturity is understanding that confidence is earned slowly. It is not something you demand from the world. It is something you build through daily conduct. Every responsible action becomes another piece of evidence supporting your identity. Every completed task strengthens mental trust. Every difficult moment handled with discipline reinforces inner strength. The process may feel slow at times. Progress may appear invisible in the beginning. But over months and years, the transformation becomes undeniable. You think more clearly. You speak with greater certainty. You stop doubting every decision. You become calmer during pressure. Your standards become stronger. Your habits become more reliable. Other people begin noticing your steadiness because it changes the energy you bring into every situation. A powerful life is built quietly before it becomes visible publicly. The private choices matter more than dramatic announcements. Confidence grows in silence through repeated integrity. It grows when you continue acting responsibly after motivation fades. It grows when you remain honest during failure. It grows when you stop abandoning yourself emotionally. There will always be reasons to delay growth. Life remains busy. Problems continue appearing. Fatigue visits everyone, but each day still offers opportunities to strengthen trust in yourself. One completed responsibility matters. One kept promise matters. One disciplined action matters. Small victories, repeated consistently, create strong character over time. As you continue aging, your relationship with yourself becomes increasingly important. Many external things change throughout life, but you remain with yourself through every stage. That relationship deserves care, honesty, and respect. Keeping promises to yourself is one of the clearest ways to build that respect daily. Eventually, you stop needing to convince yourself that you are capable because your actions already proved it repeatedly. Your confidence becomes rooted in experience rather than hope alone. You know you can handle difficulty because you faced difficult moments before. You know you can continue improving because you already practiced consistency. You know your words carry meaning because you learned how to honor them. That kind of confidence cannot be purchased or borrowed from others. It is earned through daily responsibility. It is built through patience. It is strengthened through discipline. And it becomes one of the most valuable forms of inner security a person can carry through life. Chapter 4. Protect your peace by avoiding toxic, negative, draining relationships. As people grow older, they slowly begin to understand that peace is one of the most valuable things in life. Peace is not laziness. Peace is not isolation. Peace is the ability to live without constant emotional exhaustion. It is the feeling of mental clarity when your life is not surrounded by unnecessary conflict, manipulation, drama, or emotional pressure. Many people spend years chasing success, attention, or approval while completely ignoring the damage caused by the wrong relationships. Eventually, they discover something painful. The people around you can either strengthen your life or slowly drain the energy out of it. Not every relationship is meant to stay in your life forever. Some people enter your life during certain seasons and then slowly become harmful to your emotional health. This truth can be difficult to accept because human beings naturally become attached. Shared memories, long conversations, family connections, history, and emotional dependence can make it hard to see reality clearly. But maturity requires honesty. A relationship that constantly destroys your peace cannot be ignored forever. Many people remain trapped in unhealthy relationships Because they fear loneliness more than emotional suffering, they stay connected to individuals who constantly criticize them, disrespect boundaries, create stress, manipulate emotions, or bring negativity into every conversation. Over time, this constant exposure changes the mind. Energy decreases, confidence weakens, anxiety increases, joy disappears slowly. The person begins carrying emotional tension even during ordinary moments because their nervous system never fully relaxes. Toxic relationships rarely become harmful overnight. The damage often happens gradually. At first, there may only be small moments of disrespect. Then the criticism becomes more frequent. The emotional manipulation becomes normal. The dishonesty increases. The conversations leave you mentally exhausted instead of emotionally supported. Eventually, you begin feeling emotionally heavy around someone who once brought comfort into your life. One of the clearest signs of a draining relationship is how you feel after spending time with that person. Peaceful relationships usually leave you feeling respected, understood, calm, encouraged, or emotionally balanced. Toxic relationships often leave you feeling anxious, guilty, emotionally confused, irritated, mentally tired, or emotionally unsafe. Your body often notices unhealthy energy before your mind fully accepts it. Constant tension around certain people is not something you should ignore. As people age, their emotional energy becomes more valuable. Younger years often allow more emotional recovery after conflict or drama. But over time, constant stress begins affecting physical health, sleep quality, focus, patience, and overall well-being. This is why protecting your peace becomes a serious responsibility rather than a selfish choice. A calm mind supports better decisions, healthier relationships, stronger focus, and a more meaningful life. Some people constantly bring negativity into every conversation. No matter what happens, they focus only on problems, complaints, criticism, and disappointment. Their presence slowly darkens the emotional atmosphere around them. Spending long periods around this type of negativity can affect your own mindset without you realizing it. Human beings absorb emotional energy from their environment. If you constantly surround yourself with bitterness, anger, and hopelessness, your own thinking may slowly become more negative too. Protecting your peace requires learning how to recognize emotional manipulation. Some people use guilt to control others. They make you feel responsible for their emotions constantly. Others use anger, silence, or emotional pressure to influence your decisions. Some people only contact you when they need something. Some demand endless emotional support while giving none in return. Healthy relationships contain mutual care and respect. One-sided emotional exhaustion is not healthy connection. A peaceful life requires boundaries. Boundaries are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of self-respect. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear disappointing others. They say yes when they truly mean no. They allow disrespect because they want to avoid conflict. They tolerate harmful behavior repeatedly because they hope people will eventually change. But a life without boundaries becomes emotionally dangerous. When you never protect your limits, people often continue crossing them. Boundaries can be simple but powerful. Limiting how often you engage with negative people. Refusing conversations filled with disrespect. Protecting your private time. Saying no without endless explanation. Walking away from unnecessary arguments. Reducing emotional access to people who constantly disturb your peace. These decisions may feel uncomfortable at first, but they create emotional freedom over time. One difficult truth about life is that some people become attached to your weakness rather than your growth. They feel comfortable when you doubt yourself, stay small, or remain emotionally dependent. When you begin improving your habits, mindset, confidence, or goals, they may react negatively. They may mock your progress, question your choices, or subtly discourage your improvement. This happens because your growth reminds them of areas they have neglected within themselves. Strong relationships support growth instead of resisting it. Healthy people feel happy when your life improves. They encourage your discipline, healing, learning, and emotional stability. They do not feel threatened by your peace. A supportive relationship creates emotional safety rather than emotional confusion. As you grow older, you must also become more careful about who receives access to your inner world. Not everyone deserves deep emotional access. Some people misuse vulnerability. They collect personal information only to use it during future conflicts. Others listen without genuine care and quietly spread private struggles to others. Wisdom teaches you to observe character before fully trusting someone emotionally. It is important to understand that avoiding toxic relationships does not mean becoming cold toward people. Compassion still matters, patience still matters, understanding still matters. But compassion without boundaries often leads to emotional exhaustion. You can care about someone while still protecting your peace. You can love someone while recognizing that their behavior harms your mental well-being. You can wish someone healing without sacrificing your own emotional stability. Many people waste years trying to fix individuals who refuse to fix themselves. They become emotionally consumed by another person's chaos, addiction, anger, dishonesty, or irresponsibility. Eventually, they realize something painful. You cannot save people who do not truly want to change. Support is valuable, but self-destruction in the name of loyalty helps nobody. One of the most mature decisions a person can make is choosing distance instead of constant conflict. Not every relationship requires dramatic endings. Sometimes peace comes quietly through reduced contact, emotional detachment, or accepting reality without endless arguments. Protecting your peace often means accepting people for who they truly are instead of who you hoped they would become. There are relationships where you constantly feel the need to defend yourself. Every conversation turns into tension. Your intentions are repeatedly misunderstood. Your emotional needs are ignored. Your presence feels unappreciated. Living inside this kind of emotional environment slowly damages the spirit. Human beings need respect, honesty, trust, and emotional safety to feel psychologically healthy. Some people create emotional confusion intentionally. One day they act caring and supportive. The next day they become distant, cold, manipulative, or hurtful. This inconsistency keeps others emotionally unstable. It creates anxiety because the relationship never feels emotionally secure. A peaceful connection should not constantly feel emotionally dangerous. As people mature emotionally, they stop chasing relationships that require constant suffering to maintain. They begin valuing calm communication, honesty, consistency, loyalty, and emotional maturity more than excitement filled with chaos. Peace becomes attractive because emotional exhaustion eventually becomes unbearable. Another important lesson is learning how to release the need for universal approval. Some people stay trapped in harmful relationships because they desperately want to be liked by everyone. They fear criticism or rejection deeply. But trying to satisfy every person often leads to self-abandonment. Protecting your peace sometimes means accepting that not everyone will understand your decisions. There is also wisdom in paying attention to repeated patterns rather than temporary apologies. Words alone mean very little without behavioral change. Some people apologize repeatedly, but continue causing the same damage. True change appears through consistent action over time. Mature individuals observe behavior carefully instead of becoming emotionally controlled by promises alone. A peaceful life also requires emotional responsibility from yourself. Sometimes people attract unhealthy relationships because they ignore warning signs repeatedly. Loneliness, insecurity, low self-worth, or fear of abandonment can cause people to tolerate unacceptable behavior. Healing requires honesty about your own emotional patterns too. Self-respect changes the kind of treatment you accept from others. The older you become, the more clearly you understand that energy is limited, time is limited, emotional capacity is limited. You cannot endlessly pour yourself into relationships that constantly leave you empty. Life becomes healthier when emotional investment is placed into people who bring honesty, kindness, stability, encouragement, and mutual respect. Healthy relationships create space for emotional rest. You do not constantly feel anxious about conflict. You do not feel emotionally attacked for expressing yourself honestly. You do not walk on emotional tension every day. There is freedom in being around people who allow you to breathe mentally without fear of judgment or manipulation. It is also important to recognize that toxic behavior can appear in family relationships too. Shared blood does not automatically create healthy connection. Some family members constantly criticize, shame, control, manipulate, or emotionally exhaust others. Respecting family matters deeply, but protecting your mental well-being matters too. Distance does not always mean hatred. Sometimes it simply means self-preservation. Many older adults eventually realize they spent too much time trying to maintain relationships that were emotionally destructive from the beginning. They ignored intuition. They tolerated disrespect. They remained loyal to people who repeatedly harmed them emotionally. With wisdom comes clarity. Not every connection deserves unlimited access to your life. Protecting your peace also means protecting your environment from unnecessary emotional noise. Constant gossip, drama, jealousy, resentment, and negativity slowly poison the mind. Wise people become selective about the conversations they entertain. They avoid environments filled with constant emotional chaos because they understand how strongly environment shapes mental health. There is great strength in emotional detachment from unhealthy situations. Detachment does not mean becoming uncaring. It means no longer allowing another person's behavior to destroy your inner stability. It means refusing to carry emotional burdens that do not belong to you. It means understanding that your peace should not depend entirely on someone else's emotional behavior. As you continue aging, your priorities naturally change. Temporary excitement loses importance. Superficial attention becomes less meaningful. Emotional peace, trustworthy relationships, honesty, calmness, and psychological safety become far more valuable. A peaceful life often looks simple from the outside, but feels deeply fulfilling internally. One calm conversation with a genuine person becomes more meaningful than endless interactions filled with negativity. One emotionally safe relationship becomes more valuable than many unstable connections. Quality matters more than quantity when it comes to human relationships. Choosing peace may sometimes require painful decisions. Some relationships end despite history. Some friendships fade because values change. Some connections become impossible to maintain without harming yourself emotionally. These moments can hurt deeply, but temporary pain is often healthier than lifelong emotional suffering. A strong person does not remain trapped in destructive environments simply to avoid discomfort. They choose growth over familiarity. They choose emotional health over toxic attachment. They choose self-respect over constant emotional sacrifice. Peace should never be underestimated. A peaceful mind sleeps better, thinks more clearly, loves more honestly, lives more fully. Protecting that peace becomes one of the wisest responsibilities a person can carry through life. The people around you influence your thoughts, habits, emotional state, confidence, and even your future decisions. This is why relationships deserve careful attention. A peaceful life is not built only through discipline and success. It is also built through choosing relationships that nourish your spirit instead of draining it slowly. As you move through life, remember this clearly. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your energy. Not every relationship deserves permanent loyalty. Some doors close to protect your future. Some distance creates healing. Some endings create room for peace that was impossible before. The older and wiser you become, the more you understand that protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary. It allows you to think clearly, love honestly, grow steadily, and live without carrying unnecessary emotional weight every single day. Chapter 5. Develop healthier habits that support long-term mental physical energy. As people grow older, they begin to notice something many ignore during younger years. Energy becomes one of the most important parts of life. Without physical energy, simple responsibilities feel difficult. Without mental energy, even small decisions become exhausting. A tired mind struggles to focus clearly. A neglected body slowly loses strength, movement, balance, and resilience. Many people spend years damaging their health through unhealthy habits, and only start paying attention when the body begins demanding change through pain, exhaustion, illness, or emotional burnout. Long-term health is not built through extreme actions taken occasionally. It is shaped by repeated daily habits that either support the body and mind or slowly weaken them. Small decisions repeated for years create either vitality or decline. The food you eat, the amount of sleep you get, the way you manage stress, the amount of movement in your day, and the quality of your routines all affect your future more than most people realize. Many people treat health as something they will focus on later. They delay rest, ignore exercise, eat carelessly, and push their body beyond healthy limits for years. At first, the damage may not seem visible. The body continues functioning, energy still appears available, but over time neglect begins collecting quietly. Sleep becomes poor, focus weakens, mood becomes unstable, the body becomes stiff and heavy, recovery takes longer, motivation drops. Eventually the person realizes that ignoring health always creates a cost. Healthy habits are acts of self-respect. They show that you value your future enough to care for yourself consistently. A disciplined person understands that the body and mind are deeply connected. Physical exhaustion affects emotional balance. Mental stress affects physical health. One area influences the other constantly. This is why true well-being requires attention to both mental and physical energy together. One of the most important habits for long-term energy is proper sleep. Many people underestimate how deeply sleep affects every part of life. Poor sleep weakens concentration, patience, memory, emotional stability, and physical recovery. A tired mind reacts emotionally faster and thinks clearly less often. A tired body becomes weaker, slower, and more vulnerable to illness. Sleep is not laziness, sleep is restoration. As people age, they often realize that staying awake late for unnecessary reasons damages far more than just the next morning. Constant sleep deprivation slowly affects mood, discipline, immune health, and decision-making. A healthy life requires protecting your rest seriously, going to bed at a consistent time, reducing noise before sleep, avoiding overstimulation late at night, and allowing the mind to settle quietly can improve mental clarity greatly. Another major source of long-term energy is movement. The human body was not designed to remain inactive constantly. Sitting for long periods, avoiding physical activity, and neglecting mobility slowly weakens the body over time. Exercise does not need to be extreme to be effective. Simple daily movement creates enormous long-term benefits. Walking regularly improves circulation, balance, mood, and endurance. Stretching improves flexibility and reduces stiffness. Strength training protects muscles and supports healthy aging. Many people believe exercise is only about appearance. In reality, physical movement affects emotional health deeply. Regular activity reduces stress, improves focus, supports sleep quality, and increases confidence. Movement also teaches discipline. It trains the mind to continue despite discomfort. A person who cares for their body consistently often develops stronger mental resilience too. Food also shapes daily energy in powerful ways. Many people eat based only on convenience or emotional cravings, without considering long-term consequences. Heavy processed foods, excessive sugar, overeating, and constant unhealthy snacking create sluggishness over time. The body responds to what it receives repeatedly. Nutritious meals support clearer thinking, stable energy, and better emotional balance. Healthy eating does not require perfection. It requires awareness. Drinking more water, eating balanced meals, reducing excess unhealthy food, and paying attention to how certain foods affect your energy can change daily life significantly. The goal is not obsession. The goal is support. Your body should receive care instead of constant punishment. Mental energy also depends heavily on what enters the mind daily. Many people overload themselves with negativity without realizing the damage being created internally. Constant bad news, endless comparison, emotional drama, overstimulation, and digital overload exhaust the nervous system slowly. A mind filled with noise struggles to feel calm and focused. Protecting mental energy requires intentional habits. Spending quiet time away from screens helps the mind recover. Reading thoughtful material improves attention and perspective. Limiting exposure to negativity reduces emotional exhaustion. Choosing peaceful environments whenever possible supports mental clarity. Silence is healthy sometimes. Constant stimulation prevents the mind from resting properly. Stress management becomes increasingly important as life responsibilities grow. Financial pressure, family obligations, work demands, uncertainty, and personal struggles can easily consume mental energy. Many people carry stress continuously without giving themselves moments of recovery. Over time, this creates emotional fatigue and physical tension. Healthy habits help regulate stress before it becomes destructive. Deep breathing during tense moments calms the nervous system. Walking outdoors creates mental space. Writing thoughts privately helps process emotions. Honest conversations with trusted people reduce emotional isolation. Simple moments of stillness allow the mind to reset. Recovery is necessary for long-term strength. Many older adults realize too late that constant busyness is not the same as productivity. Some people stay mentally exhausted because they never allow themselves proper recovery. Their schedule remains overloaded. Their mind stays active every moment. Their body never fully relaxes. A healthier life requires balance between effort and restoration. Another powerful habit for long-term energy is maintaining emotional stability. Constant anger, resentment, bitterness, anxiety, and emotional conflict drain enormous amounts of mental strength. Emotional chaos affects physical health directly. Stress hormones increase, sleep worsens, tension rises throughout the body. Emotional peace supports physical well-being more than many people understand. This is why emotional habits matter as much as physical ones. Gratitude improves perspective. Patience reduces unnecessary stress. Forgiveness releases emotional weight. Calm communication protects relationships. Healthy emotional processing prevents internal pressure from building endlessly. A peaceful mind supports a healthier body. Daily routines also shape energy levels. A disorganized life creates unnecessary mental exhaustion. Constant rushing, forgotten responsibilities, cluttered environments, and inconsistent schedules force the brain to work harder continuously. Organized habits create efficiency and calmness. Simple structure reduces mental strain. Morning routines are especially important because they influence the tone of the entire day. Waking up with intention creates stability. Drinking water early supports physical energy. Moving your body shortly after waking improves alertness. Beginning the day without immediately flooding your mind with stress or distractions helps preserve focus. A calm beginning often creates a calmer day overall. Another essential habit is protecting your posture and physical comfort throughout daily life. Many people ignore body tension until pain becomes serious. Poor posture, lack of movement, long hours of sitting, and physical neglect create chronic discomfort over time. Simple awareness about how you sit, stand, walk, and carry tension can improve physical energy significantly. Healthy habits also require patience. Modern culture encourages quick results and extreme transformations, but sustainable health grows slowly. The body responds best to consistency rather than temporary intensity. One healthy meal matters. One good night of sleep matters. One walk matters. One calm decision matters. Over months and years, these small choices create major change. Many people sabotage themselves by expecting perfection. One unhealthy day causes them to completely quit their routines. This mindset creates instability. A healthier approach is learning how to recover quickly after mistakes. Progress does not require flawless behavior. It requires returning to good habits repeatedly even after difficult days. The people around you also affect your energy deeply. Supportive relationships improve emotional health. Negative environments increase stress and exhaustion. Spending time with calm, disciplined, honest people often encourages healthier choices naturally. Human beings absorb habits from their surroundings more than they realize. As you grow older, your body gives clearer signals about what helps and what harms. Certain foods create fatigue. Certain habits create tension. Certain environments drain emotional strength. Wisdom comes from paying attention to these signals instead of ignoring them repeatedly. Your body often tells the truth before your mind fully accepts it. One important lesson many learn with age is that health cannot be separated from responsibility. You cannot repeatedly neglect yourself and expect strong, long-term energy. The body remembers years of carelessness. The mind remembers years of emotional overload. Daily habits quietly shape future quality of life. This does not mean living with fear or becoming obsessed with health. It means becoming intentional. It means recognizing that your future self depends heavily on the choices you make today. Caring for yourself consistently allows you to remain active, independent, mentally clear, and emotionally stable for longer. There is dignity in maintaining your health as you age. A strong body allows you to continue serving others, pursuing goals, enjoying meaningful experiences, and facing life with resilience. Mental clarity allows you to make wiser decisions and maintain emotional balance during challenges. These things become increasingly valuable over time. Another important habit is staying mentally curious. Learning keeps the mind active and flexible. Many people stop challenging their brain as they age and slowly become mentally passive. Reading, studying, practicing skills, having thoughtful conversations, and remaining open to growth strengthens mental sharpness. The mind needs exercise just like the body does. Spending time in nature also restores energy in powerful ways. Fresh air, sunlight, open space, and quiet surroundings calm the nervous system naturally. Many people spend nearly all their time indoors surrounded by artificial stimulation. Simple moments outside can improve mood, thinking, and emotional balance significantly. Hydration is another basic habit often ignored. Many people walk through daily life dehydrated without realizing how much it affects focus, mood, and physical energy. Water supports nearly every system in the body. Simple, consistent hydration improves daily functioning more than people expect. Long-term health also depends on reducing harmful habits that slowly destroy energy. Excessive alcohol, constant overeating, smoking, chronic stress, emotional suppression, inactivity, and addictive behaviors all create long-term damage. Sometimes growth is not only about adding healthy habits, sometimes it is about removing behaviors that quietly weaken your life. One peaceful truth about healthy living is that the rewards extend beyond appearance. Healthy habits create freedom, freedom to move without pain, freedom to think clearly, freedom to sleep peacefully, freedom to enjoy ordinary moments fully, freedom to remain emotionally stable during pressure. This kind of freedom becomes deeply valuable with age. A healthy person is not someone who never struggles. Everyone experiences stress, fatigue, illness, or difficult periods. Health is about creating habits that support recovery and resilience instead of constant decline. It is about building a stronger foundation so life challenges become easier to handle. The older you become, the more clearly you understand that energy shapes nearly every part of life. Without energy, goals remain unfinished, relationships suffer, pressure weakens, joy becomes harder to feel. But when mental and physical energy are protected carefully, life feels more manageable, more stable, and more meaningful. Healthy habits may appear simple from the outside, but their long-term impact is powerful. A disciplined sleep routine strengthens emotional balance. Daily movement protects the body. Nutritious food supports mental clarity. Quiet reflection calms the mind. Emotional peace reduces internal stress. These habits work together to create a stronger life gradually. your future quality of life is being shaped by your current routines. Every day your habits are either building resilience or creating future problems. This truth should not create fear, it should create awareness. You still have the ability to improve your health step by step. You still have time to strengthen your body and protect your mind. Small healthy actions repeated consistently can completely change the direction of your life over time. The process is not dramatic. It is steady, daily, one decision after another, one responsible habit after another. And eventually you begin to feel the difference not only in your body but also in your spirit. Chapter 6. Learn smarter communication skills that create deeper, honest human connections. As people grow older, they often realize that the quality of life is deeply connected to the quality of their relationships. Human beings need connection. They need trust, understanding, respect, honesty, and emotional safety. Yet many relationships slowly weaken, not because love completely disappears, but because communication becomes careless, defensive, dishonest, impatient, or emotionally distant. Words shape relationships more than most people realize. A few thoughtful conversations can heal years of misunderstanding. A few reckless sentences can damage trust deeply. Communication is more than speaking. It is the ability to express thoughts clearly, listen with attention, understand emotions wisely, and respond with maturity instead of impulse. Strong communication creates stronger marriages, healthier friendships, calmer families, better work relationships, and deeper emotional connection. Poor communication creates confusion, resentment, loneliness, frustration, and emotional distance, even between people who care about each other deeply. Many people spend years talking without truly communicating. They speak constantly, but rarely listen carefully. They wait for their turn to respond instead of trying to understand. They interrupt, assume, judge quickly, or react emotionally before hearing the full truth. Over time, this damages trust because people stop feeling emotionally safe around them. One of the most important communication skills is learning how to truly listen. Most people underestimate how powerful listening can be. A person who feels heard often feels respected. Listening requires patience and attention. It means putting aside distractions. It means not rushing to fix every problem immediately. It means allowing another person to fully express themselves without fear of being dismissed. As people age, they begin understanding that many conflicts are not caused by hatred, but by misunderstanding. One person feels ignored. Another feels unappreciated. One person struggles silently, but never communicates honestly. Another assumes things without asking questions. Miscommunication creates emotional distance slowly. Healthy communication closes that distance before it becomes too large. Another important lesson is learning how to speak calmly during emotional situations. Many people communicate well during peaceful moments but lose control during stress or disagreement. They raise their voice, become defensive, attack character, or say painful things they later regret. Emotional reactions damage communication because they shift attention away from understanding and toward emotional survival. A calm tone creates safety during difficult conversations. People become more honest when they do not feel attacked. This does not mean avoiding truth. Honest conversations are necessary, but truth delivered with unnecessary cruelty creates resistance instead of understanding. Wise communication combines honesty with emotional control. Many people also struggle because they communicate indirectly. Instead of expressing needs clearly, they expect others to guess what they feel. They become resentful when people fail to read their mind. Mature communication requires clarity. If something matters, speak about it respectfully. If something hurts, address it honestly. If you appreciate someone, say it openly. Silence often creates confusion where honesty could create connection. As life becomes busier, many relationships weaken because communication becomes shallow. Conversations become limited to responsibilities, schedules, stress, or surface-level topics. Emotional connection fades slowly when meaningful communication disappears. Deep relationships require presence. People need to feel emotionally seen, not simply physically near each other. Technology has also changed communication greatly. Many people spend hours connected digitally while feeling emotionally disconnected internally. Messages replace real conversations. Attention becomes divided constantly. Phones interrupt moments that once allowed deeper connection. Healthy communication often requires slowing down enough to truly focus on another human being without distraction. One powerful communication habit is asking thoughtful questions. People feel valued when someone shows genuine interest in their thoughts, struggles, goals, or experiences. Good communication is not about dominating every conversation. It is about creating mutual understanding. Asking sincere questions encourages emotional openness and trust. Another important skill is learning how to disagree respectfully. Mature relationships do not require constant agreement. Different opinions are normal. Problems begin when disagreement turns into disrespect. Some people treat every difference like a personal attack. They become aggressive, sarcastic, or emotionally cold whenever conflict appears. This creates fear instead of healthy discussion. Respectful disagreement allows relationships to survive difficult conversations without emotional destruction. It means focusing on the issue rather than attacking the person's worth. It means staying open to understanding another perspective, even when emotions are involved. Strong communication protects dignity during disagreement. As people grow older, they also realize how important timing can be during conversations. Not every discussion should happen during anger, exhaustion, or emotional overwhelm. Difficult conversations require emotional readiness. Speaking impulsively during intense frustration often creates more damage than clarity. Sometimes wisdom means waiting until emotions settle before addressing serious issues. Communication also becomes stronger when people learn how to admit mistakes honestly. Pride damages many relationships because people fear looking wrong. They defend themselves endlessly instead of taking responsibility. But accountability builds trust. A sincere apology can repair emotional damage when it comes with genuine change. People respect honesty far more than perfection. Many individuals carry emotional wounds from poor communication throughout life. Childhood criticism, emotional neglect, harsh words, manipulation, humiliation, or constant invalidation affect the way people communicate as adults. Some become overly defensive. Some avoid difficult conversations completely. Others struggle expressing emotions because vulnerability feels unsafe. Healing communication patterns requires self-awareness and patience. There is also great value in learning how to communicate emotions clearly instead of expressing them through harmful behavior. Some people use silence, anger, sarcasm, or withdrawal because they cannot express sadness, disappointment, fear, or insecurity directly. Emotional honesty creates healthier relationships than emotional games. Strong communication requires emotional courage. Honest conversations are uncomfortable sometimes. Expressing feelings truthfully can feel risky. Setting boundaries may create temporary tension, but avoiding important conversations often creates larger pain later. Temporary discomfort is often healthier than long-term emotional distance. Another important communication skill is learning how to read emotional energy beyond words. People do not always express pain directly. Tone, body language, facial expressions, silence, and behavior often reveal hidden emotions. A thoughtful communicator pays attention carefully instead of only hearing words on the surface. Kindness also matters deeply in communication. Harsh people often justify cruelty by calling themselves honest, but honesty without compassion creates unnecessary wounds. People remember how conversations made them feel long after specific words are forgotten. Respectful communication creates emotional safety. Cruel communication creates fear and distance. Many people underestimate how powerful encouragement can be. A few sincere words can restore someone's hope during difficult periods. Encouragement is not fake praise. It is recognizing effort, growth, resilience, or value honestly. Supportive communication strengthens relationships because people feel emotionally supported instead of constantly criticized. At the same time, healthy communication also requires boundaries. Some conversations become emotionally unhealthy. Some people manipulate discussions to create guilt, confusion, or control. Wise communication means knowing when to engage and when to step back. Not every argument deserves participation. Protecting your peace sometimes requires ending unproductive conversations calmly. As people age, they often regret words spoken carelessly during emotional moments. Anger passes, but painful words can remain in someone's memory for years. This is why disciplined speech matters. A mature person thinks before speaking during conflict. They understand that temporary emotion should not control permanent consequences. Communication improves greatly when people stop trying to always appear strong. Vulnerability creates deeper connection. Admitting fear, uncertainty, sadness, or struggle allows relationships to become more genuine. Many people feel emotionally lonely because everyone is pretending to be emotionally unaffected all the time. Honest vulnerability creates trust when shared wisely. Listening without immediately judging also strengthens communication. Some people react so quickly that others stop sharing honestly around them. Constant criticism, interruptions, or dismissive responses shut emotional doors. People open up when they feel emotionally safe rather than emotionally attacked. Another valuable lesson is learning how to communicate appreciation regularly. Many relationships weaken because gratitude remains unspoken. People silently assume others already know they are valued, but hearing appreciation matters. Simple words of gratitude strengthen emotional connection greatly. Acknowledging someone's effort, patience, loyalty, or kindness creates warmth in relationships. Communication is also affected by ego. Some people care more about winning conversations than understanding people. They argue endlessly to protect pride. But strong relationships are not built through constant victory. They are built through respect, empathy, patience, and mutual understanding. As life becomes more difficult, people need emotionally safe relationships even more. Stressful seasons reveal the importance of communication clearly. During illness, financial pressure, grief, uncertainty, or emotional hardship, people need calm, honest connection. A peaceful conversation can reduce emotional burden greatly during painful moments. Good communication also includes knowing when silence is more valuable than unnecessary words. Not every situation requires immediate advice or reaction. Sometimes presence matters more than solutions. Sitting quietly with someone during pain can communicate care more deeply than long speeches. One important truth about communication is that people often remember emotional tone more than exact details. They remember whether they felt respected or dismissed, heard or ignored, safe or attacked. This is why emotional awareness matters during conversations. Your words should not only express information, they should also protect dignity. As people grow older, they begin valuing authentic communication more than superficial interaction. Meaningless small talk loses importance. Honest conversations become more valuable. Real connection becomes more important than social performance. Mature communication focuses less on impressing others and more on understanding them genuinely. Communication skills also affect leadership. Parents influence children through communication daily. Partners shape emotional health through conversations. Friends strengthen or weaken each other through words. Workplace environments become healthier or more stressful based on communication culture. The ability to communicate wisely affects every area of life. Another powerful habit is learning how to pause before reacting emotionally. A few moments of reflection can prevent unnecessary conflict. Immediate reactions often come from ego, fear, insecurity, or anger rather than wisdom. A thoughtful response creates better outcomes than impulsive emotional reactions. Many people become better communicators only after experiencing loneliness, regret, broken trust, or emotional distance. Pain teaches them the value of patience, honesty, empathy, and emotional maturity. But wisdom allows you to learn these lessons before relationships completely fall apart. A strong communicator does not manipulate emotions to gain control. They do not lie to avoid responsibility. They do not use shame to silence others. They value truth because trust depends on honesty. Without honesty, communication becomes performance instead of connection. As you continue aging, your words carry increasing weight. Your communication affects the emotional atmosphere around you. Calm speech can reduce tension. Thoughtful listening can heal emotional wounds. Honest conversations can rebuild trust. Encouraging words can strengthen someone during difficult seasons of life. Human connection remains one of the deepest needs people carry throughout life. Money, success, and achievement cannot fully replace meaningful relationships. But meaningful relationships require communication skills built on patience, respect, honesty, emotional awareness, and discipline. Every conversation becomes an opportunity. An opportunity to create understanding instead of division. An opportunity to listen instead of assuming. An opportunity to encourage instead of criticize. An opportunity to strengthen trust instead of weakening it. The older and wiser you become, the more clearly you understand this truth. Life becomes lighter when communication becomes healthier. Relationships become deeper when honesty becomes safer. Emotional connection becomes stronger when people feel respected and understood. Smart communication is not about speaking perfectly. It is about communicating with intention, maturity, clarity, and care. It is about creating relationships where truth can exist without fear and where human beings can feel emotionally safe enough to be fully honest. Chapter 7. Master your time by removing distractions and useless daily habits. Time becomes more valuable as people grow older. During younger years, many people believe there will always be more time later. More time to improve health, more time to repair relationships, more time to chase goals, more time to become disciplined. But as life moves forward, reality becomes clearer. Days pass quickly, years disappear quietly. Opportunities do not wait forever. Eventually, a person begins to understand that time is not simply something you spend. Time is your life itself. Every hour carries value, because once it passes, it cannot be recovered. Money lost can sometimes return. Energy lost can sometimes recover, but time only moves in one direction. This truth becomes more emotional with age, because people begin looking back at how many years were wasted through distraction, delay, unhealthy habits, meaningless routines, and endless procrastination. Many people are not truly lacking time. They are losing time through unconscious living. Their attention is constantly scattered. They wake up without direction. They move through the day reacting instead of acting intentionally. Hours disappear through distractions that provide temporary stimulation, but no lasting value. At the end of the day, they feel mentally tired, yet strangely unfulfilled, because their time was consumed but not used meaningfully. One of the greatest challenges in modern life is distraction. The human mind is constantly pulled in different directions. Notifications interrupt focus. Endless entertainment competes for attention. Social media consumes hours silently. People move from one distraction to another without realizing how deeply fragmented their attention has become. A distracted mind struggles to create anything meaningful because focus never lasts long enough. Mastering time begins with awareness. You must become honest about where your hours are actually going. Many people believe they are busy while spending enormous amounts of time on habits that contribute nothing meaningful to their life. Endless scrolling, unnecessary arguments, constant checking of phones, excessive television, emotional gossip, mindless browsing, and repetitive distractions slowly consume years without producing growth. The problem with distractions is not only lost time. Distractions weaken mental discipline. They train the brain to avoid boredom, discomfort, effort, and deep focus. Over time, the mind becomes restless. Simple tasks feel difficult because attention constantly seeks stimulation. Long-term goals suffer because temporary distractions always appear easier than meaningful work. A disciplined life requires learning how to protect attention carefully. Attention is one of the most powerful resources you possess. Whatever receives your attention begins shaping your thoughts, habits, emotions, and future. If your attention is constantly controlled by useless distractions, your life slowly loses direction. But when attention becomes intentional, life begins changing in powerful ways. As people grow older, they often realize how many dreams remained unfinished because of poor time management. Some delayed learning important skills, some postponed difficult conversations, some wasted years in unhealthy routines, some constantly waited for the perfect moment that never arrived. Regret often grows from delayed action more than failed action. One important lesson about time is understanding the difference between activity and progress. Many people remain busy all day but accomplish very little that truly matters. They move constantly yet avoid important priorities. Real progress requires clarity about what deserves your energy. Not every task carries equal importance. Not every demand deserves immediate attention. A focused person learns how to identify what truly matters and protect time for those priorities. Important work often requires uninterrupted concentration. Deep thinking, meaningful conversations, learning, exercise, planning, reflection, and creative effort cannot fully develop inside constant distraction. Focus creates quality. Scattered attention weakens everything. Morning habits play a major role in time management. The beginning of the day often determines the direction of the entire day. Many people wake up and immediately surrender their attention to noise, notifications, stress, or endless digital stimulation. Before their mind fully wakes up, their focus is already being controlled externally. This creates mental chaos early. A stronger approach is beginning the day intentionally. Quiet mornings create clarity. Planning important tasks early prevents wasted time later. Completing meaningful work before distractions increase creates momentum. A peaceful beginning strengthens discipline throughout the rest of the day. Another major source of wasted time is indecision. Some people spend enormous energy overthinking instead of acting. They continuously analyze, hesitate, doubt themselves, and delay movement. While careful thinking matters, excessive hesitation destroys momentum. Many responsibilities become heavier simply because they remain unfinished too long. Small delays create large consequences over time. Ignored responsibilities pile up quietly. Unfinished tasks create mental pressure. Avoided decisions drain emotional energy. A responsible person handles important matters while they are still manageable instead of waiting until problems grow larger. Time management also requires removing useless habits that slowly weaken your life. Some habits appear harmless because the damage happens gradually. Staying awake too late, spending hours complaining, constantly checking messages, living without schedules, wasting weekends completely, repeating the same unproductive routines every day. These habits slowly steal future opportunities. As you age, your habits either strengthen your future or weaken it. There is no neutral direction. Repeated choices shape identity and outcomes. If your routines constantly waste time, your future reflects that waste. If your routines support growth, your future slowly becomes stronger. Many people avoid structure because they fear losing freedom. But a life without structure often becomes controlled by distraction. Discipline actually creates more freedom because it reduces chaos. A person who manages time wisely experiences less stress, less panic, and fewer last-minute problems. Order creates peace. One valuable habit is learning how to say no. Many people waste enormous time because they lack boundaries. They agree to unnecessary commitments. They participate in draining conversations. They allow interruptions constantly. They give attention to things that do not align with their priorities. Protecting time requires protecting boundaries. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. Not every conversation deserves participation. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit. Wise people understand that every yes carries a hidden no. Saying yes to distractions often means saying no to personal growth, health, rest, focus, or meaningful goals. Another powerful lesson is understanding the emotional side of procrastination. Many people delay important tasks, not because they are lazy, but because they feel overwhelmed, uncertain, afraid of failure, or emotionally uncomfortable. Procrastination often becomes emotional avoidance disguised as delay. The task remains unfinished because facing it creates internal resistance. Growth begins when you stop waiting for perfect emotional conditions before taking action. Important responsibilities must often be handled even when motivation feels weak. Action creates momentum. Momentum reduces resistance. Many difficult tasks feel lighter once started. Technology can be useful, but without discipline it becomes one of the greatest destroyers of focus. Many people cannot spend a few quiet minutes without reaching for a device. Silence feels uncomfortable because constant stimulation became normal. But a mind addicted to stimulation struggles to focus deeply on anything meaningful. Creating healthier digital habits can completely transform mental clarity. Reducing unnecessary screen time, turning off non-essential notifications, creating periods without phone use, avoiding endless scrolling before sleep, protecting focused work time from interruption. These small changes strengthen attention greatly over time. Time mastery also requires understanding energy management. Some people schedule their day poorly and waste their best mental hours on meaningless activities. Important work should receive your strongest energy whenever possible. Many productive people protect certain hours for focused effort because they understand how valuable mental clarity is. Another hidden source of wasted time is emotional distraction. Constant resentment, drama, gossip, comparison, and unnecessary conflict consume enormous mental energy. A peaceful mind works more efficiently because attention is not constantly trapped inside emotional chaos. Emotional discipline improves productivity greatly. As people grow older, they often begin simplifying life intentionally. They realize that constant busyness does not equal fulfillment. Owning too many unnecessary things creates clutter. Too many commitments create exhaustion. Too much noise weakens concentration. Simplicity creates space for what truly matters. A meaningful life is rarely built through random behavior. It requires intentional use of time. Relationships need attention. Health needs care. Learning needs focus. Financial stability needs planning. Personal growth needs consistency. These things do not improve automatically. They improve through repeated investment of time and energy. One of the wisest habits is planning your day before distractions take control. Writing down priorities creates direction. Without direction, many people drift through the day, reacting to whatever appears in front of them. Planned action creates purpose. Purpose reduces wasted movement. There is also value in understanding that rest and recovery are important parts of time management. Constant exhaustion reduces effectiveness. A tired mind works slowly and makes poor decisions. Healthy rest improves clarity, creativity, patience, and performance. Intentional recovery strengthens long-term productivity. The danger comes when rest becomes avoidance. Many people confuse endless comfort with recovery. Hours disappear through passive entertainment that leaves the mind emptier instead of restored. True recovery renews energy. Escapism usually creates more dissatisfaction afterward. Another important lesson is learning how to finish things. Constantly starting tasks without completion creates mental clutter and weakens discipline. Completion creates momentum and confidence. Even small completed responsibilities strengthen the habit of follow-through. Many older adults carry painful regret about wasted years, not because life lacked opportunity, but because distractions slowly consumed their focus. Days turned into years without meaningful progress. This realization can feel heavy, but it can also become a wake-up call. The present still matters. Your remaining time still holds value. Every stage of life offers opportunities to use time more wisely. You can still improve routines. You can still remove destructive habits. You can still become more intentional. Change begins through awareness, followed by disciplined action. One powerful shift happens when you stop asking how to pass time and start asking how to use time meaningfully. Meaningful time creates fulfillment because it aligns with values and growth. Learning, serving others, strengthening health, building relationships, improving skills, and living responsibly create deeper satisfaction than endless distraction. People who manage time wisely often appear calmer because their life contains less unnecessary chaos. They handle responsibilities steadily instead of constantly reacting under pressure. They know what deserves focus. They understand that attention is limited and should not be wasted carelessly. As you continue aging, your relationship with time becomes increasingly important. The future becomes shaped less by dramatic moments and more by repeated daily choices. Small habits determine direction. Small distractions create delay. Small disciplines create progress. Time mastery is not about controlling every second perfectly. It is about living consciously instead of carelessly. It is about removing habits that weaken your future and strengthening habits that support growth. It is about protecting your attention from things that add noise without value. A peaceful and productive life is built through intentional living. Wake up with direction, protect your focus, complete important tasks, remove distractions that drain your potential, use your energy wisely. Stop postponing growth. Stop surrendering your attention to meaningless habits. Life moves forward whether you use time wisely or not. The days will continue passing. The question is whether those days will build something meaningful or slowly disappear into distraction and regret. The older and wiser you become, the more clearly you understand this truth. A meaningful life is not created accidentally. It is created through disciplined attention, repeated consistently over time. Chapter 8. Accept painful truths and grow through personal life responsibility. One of the hardest parts of becoming wiser with age is learning how to face uncomfortable truths without running away from them. Many people spend years avoiding reality because truth can feel painful. It can expose mistakes, wasted time, unhealthy habits, emotional weakness, poor decisions, broken relationships, or personal failures. Avoidance may provide temporary comfort, but it slowly creates a life built on denial instead of growth. A person cannot truly improve while refusing to face what is real. Life becomes heavier when responsibility is constantly avoided. Some people blame circumstances for everything. Others blame parents, society, bad luck, past relationships, childhood experiences, unfair treatment, or difficult environments. While pain and unfairness are real parts of life, personal responsibility still matters deeply. Growth begins when a person stops asking only who caused their pain and starts asking what they must now do with the life still in front of them. Accepting painful truths does not mean hating yourself. It means becoming honest enough to see your life clearly. Honesty creates awareness. Awareness creates change. Many people stay trapped for years because they refuse to admit certain realities about themselves. They continue harmful habits while pretending everything is fine. They repeat destructive patterns while blaming others completely. They avoid difficult conversations because they fear discomfort more than stagnation. A mature person learns how to sit with truth even when it hurts emotionally. Some truths arrive quietly over time. Some arrive suddenly through failure, heartbreak, illness, financial struggle, betrayal, or regret. These moments often force people to confront realities they ignored for years. The pain is difficult, but it can also become a turning point if handled with wisdom. One painful truth many people eventually face is that no one is coming to completely rescue them. Support from others matters. Love matters. Guidance matters. But ultimately, each person becomes responsible for the direction of their own life. Waiting endlessly for someone else to fix your habits, heal your mind, organize your future, or save you from consequences often leads to disappointment. Responsibility creates empowerment because it returns control back to your own actions. Another difficult truth is that life is not always fair. Good people sometimes suffer deeply, hardworking people sometimes struggle, honest people sometimes get betrayed. Loss can arrive unexpectedly. Pain does not always follow logic. Accepting this reality helps people stop wasting energy demanding a perfect world that does not exist. Emotional maturity comes from learning how to respond wisely, even when circumstances feel unfair. Many people lose years because they refuse to accept responsibility for small daily choices. They ignore health while blaming aging completely. They waste money while blaming financial stress entirely on outside forces. They damage relationships while refusing to examine their own communication patterns. They stay trapped in the same emotional cycles because self-reflection feels uncomfortable. Responsibility requires courage because it forces you to examine your own behavior honestly. As people grow older, they begin realizing that excuses provide temporary emotional protection, but no real progress. Excuses can explain why something happened, but they cannot build a better future. A person who constantly justifies unhealthy behavior remains emotionally stuck. Growth begins when explanations stop becoming permanent hiding places. Accepting responsibility also means acknowledging the consequences of repeated decisions. Every habit shapes future outcomes slowly. Neglected health eventually affects the body. Poor communication damages trust. Financial irresponsibility creates pressure. Emotional avoidance weakens relationships. Lack of discipline limits opportunities. These consequences may not appear immediately, but life remembers repeated behavior over time. One important lesson about responsibility is understanding that freedom and responsibility are connected. Many people want freedom without discipline. They want peace without emotional control. They want success without consistent effort. They want healthy relationships without honest communication. But lasting improvement requires accepting responsibility for the work involved. Painful truths often reveal areas where growth is necessary. Sometimes the truth is that fear has controlled too many decisions. Sometimes the truth is that laziness became a habit. Sometimes the truth is that pride damaged relationships. Sometimes the truth is that years were wasted seeking approval instead of building character. Facing these realities can feel emotionally heavy, but denial only prolongs suffering. There is also a painful truth many older adults eventually understand. Time moves regardless of readiness. Years pass whether goals are pursued or ignored. Opportunities disappear whether action is taken or delayed. Waiting endlessly for the perfect moment often creates regret. Responsibility means acting with the time you still have, instead of remaining trapped in what should have happened years ago. Another difficult reality is that emotional wounds do not automatically heal with time alone. Some people carry unresolved anger, bitterness, insecurity, shame, or grief for decades because they never truly faced it honestly. Responsibility includes caring for your inner life. Emotional healing requires self-awareness, reflection, honesty, and sometimes difficult changes in thinking and behavior. As people mature, they begin understanding that personal responsibility is not punishment. It is strength. It means you stop living entirely as a victim of circumstances. Even when life causes pain, you still retain the ability to choose your response, habits, mindset, and future direction. This awareness creates resilience. One reason people resist painful truths is because identity becomes attached to comfort. Admitting mistakes threatens the image people hold about themselves. Pride often blocks growth. Some individuals would rather defend unhealthy behavior than experience the temporary discomfort of accountability. But wisdom requires humility. Humility allows learning. Humility allows correction. A responsible person does not waste all their energy blaming others endlessly. They focus on what can still be improved now. They ask practical questions. What habits need changing? What conversations need honesty? What responsibilities have been ignored? What fears are preventing progress? This mindset creates movement instead of emotional paralysis. Another painful truth is that self-neglect creates consequences slowly. Many people spend years abandoning their own needs, values, health, dreams, or emotional well-being. Over time, resentment grows because the inner self feels ignored. Responsibility includes caring for your physical health, mental stability, finances, relationships, and purpose consistently rather than only reacting during crisis. Growth also requires accepting that not everyone will understand your journey. Some people may judge your changes, others may resist your boundaries or improvements. Responsibility means continuing to pursue growth even when approval is absent. A mature person stops making every decision based entirely on external validation. There are moments in life when painful truth becomes unavoidable. A health scare exposes years of neglect. Financial stress reveals irresponsible spending. Broken trust exposes dishonesty. Loneliness reveals emotional disconnection. Failure reveals lack of preparation. These moments hurt because they remove illusion, but they also create opportunity for transformation if faced honestly. Some people spend decades repeating the same cycles because they never pause to reflect deeply. The same unhealthy relationships, the same destructive habits, the same emotional reactions, the same excuses. Responsibility begins when patterns are recognized honestly instead of endlessly repeated unconsciously. A strong person learns how to apologize sincerely when necessary. Accountability strengthens character. Many people damage relationships because pride prevents honest ownership of mistakes. Defensiveness creates emotional distance. Humility rebuilds trust. Taking responsibility for harmful behavior is difficult but deeply important for personal growth. Another important truth is that discipline often matters more than motivation. Waiting to feel inspired before taking responsibility creates inconsistency. Mature individuals understand that responsibilities must often be handled regardless of emotional mood. Bills must be paid. Health must be maintained. Difficult conversations must happen. Commitments must be honored. Consistent action builds stability. As people grow older, they often realize how much suffering was created by avoiding uncomfortable realities early. Problems ignored usually become larger. Emotions suppressed often return stronger later. Difficult conversations delayed create deeper misunderstanding. Responsibility requires dealing with reality directly instead of endlessly postponing it. There is also wisdom in accepting your limitations honestly. No person controls everything. Some outcomes remain uncertain despite effort. Some losses cannot be reversed. Some mistakes leave permanent consequences. Responsibility includes focusing on what can still be influenced instead of obsessing over what cannot be changed anymore. One painful but freeing truth is that growth requires sacrifice. Becoming healthier may require leaving comfort behind. Financial stability may require disciplined spending. Emotional peace may require distancing yourself from harmful environments. Better habits may require changing routines completely. Responsibility means accepting these sacrifices willingly instead of resisting every discomfort. Many people confuse responsibility with harsh self-punishment. True responsibility is not about constant guilt or shame. It is about honest ownership followed by constructive action. Endless self-hatred does not create improvement. Clear awareness combined with disciplined change creates improvement. The older you become, the more clearly you understand that small choices matter deeply. One conversation can change a relationship. One decision can change financial direction. One habit can affect long-term health. 1 year of focused effort can transform your future. Responsibility is often built through ordinary daily choices rather than dramatic moments. There is strength in becoming dependable for yourself and others. Responsible people create stability. They handle obligations consistently. They do not constantly escape accountability. They become trustworthy because their actions align with their words. This creates respect internally and externally. Another important lesson is learning how to stop lying to yourself. Self-deception destroys growth quietly. Pretending unhealthy behavior is harmless. Pretending procrastination is not serious. Pretending emotional wounds are healed when they are not. Pretending certain habits are under control when they clearly are not. Honest self-examination is uncomfortable, but necessary for transformation. Accepting painful truths also helps reduce resentment. Many people remain angry because they refuse to fully accept reality. They keep fighting against facts they cannot change. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means seeing clearly so energy can move toward healing and progress instead of endless resistance. Life becomes more peaceful when responsibility replaces blame. Instead of wasting years asking why life was unfair, you begin asking what actions will strengthen your future now. This shift changes everything. It transforms suffering into learning. It transforms regret into wisdom. It transforms weakness into discipline. As you continue aging, your choices become increasingly important because consequences accumulate over time. Health, finances, emotional habits, relationships, and mindset all reflect repeated decisions. Personal responsibility becomes one of the strongest forms of self-respect because it means you are actively participating in shaping your own future. Growth is rarely comfortable. Truth often hurts before it heals. Accountability feels heavy before it creates freedom. Discipline feels difficult before it creates stability. But avoiding these things creates even greater suffering over time. A meaningful life requires courage. Courage to face yourself honestly. Courage to correct mistakes. Courage to admit weakness. Courage to stop blaming endlessly. Courage to grow despite regret, fear, or past pain. The strongest people are not those who never fail. They are those who accept reality honestly and continue improving anyway. They take responsibility for the life still available to them. They stop wasting energy pretending. They stop running from truth. They understand that maturity begins the moment excuses end. As life continues moving forward, remember this clearly. Painful truths are not enemies. They are often invitations toward a stronger, wiser, and more disciplined life. The truth may wound your pride temporarily, but it can also save your future if you have the courage to face it directly. Chapter 9. Train your mind to stay calm during unexpected life challenges. Life rarely follows perfect plans. No matter how carefully someone prepares, there will still be moments that arrive unexpectedly. Illness can appear suddenly. Financial pressure can develop without warning. Relationships can change painfully. Loss can arrive in a single phone call. Failure can happen after years of effort. Human beings cannot control every event that enters their life, but they can learn how to control their response. This ability becomes one of the greatest strengths a person can develop with age. Many people lose emotional stability during difficult situations because their mind has never been trained to handle pressure calmly. The moment life becomes uncertain, panic takes over, fear grows quickly, thoughts become chaotic, emotions control behavior, decisions become impulsive. Stress spreads through the body and mind at the same time. A person who cannot calm their own mind often suffers twice. First from the actual problem, and second from their uncontrolled reaction to the problem. Mental calmness is not weakness. Calmness is strength under pressure. It is the ability to think clearly while emotions are intense. It is the discipline to avoid panic when life becomes unpredictable. Calm people still feel fear, sadness, disappointment, and stress. The difference is that they do not completely surrender control to those emotions. One painful truth about life is that challenges are unavoidable. Every person eventually faces uncertainty, pain, disappointment, aging, loss, rejection, mistakes, or unexpected setbacks. Some people spend years hoping life will remain comfortable forever. But emotional maturity begins when a person accepts that difficulty is part of human existence. Acceptance reduces shock when problems appear because the mind stops expecting permanent comfort. As people grow older, they often realize that emotional reactions can either improve difficult situations or make them far worse. Panic clouds judgment. Anger damages communication. Fear creates paralysis. Impulsive decisions create additional problems. A calm mind creates space for wiser choices. This is why emotional discipline becomes increasingly valuable with age. Training the mind to stay calm begins long before major crises arrive. Calmness is developed through daily habits and repeated mental practice. A person who constantly reacts emotionally to small frustrations will likely struggle during larger challenges too. But someone who practices patience during ordinary stress gradually builds stronger emotional control. Small daily moments become opportunities for mental training. Traffic delays, unexpected interruptions, criticism, mistakes, disappointment, long lines, difficult conversations, minor inconveniences. Many people become emotionally reactive during these ordinary situations. Without realizing, they are strengthening impatience and emotional instability. Calmness grows when you learn how to pause instead of reacting immediately. Breathing plays a powerful role during stressful moments. When fear rises, the body becomes tense. Breathing becomes shallow. The heart races faster. The nervous system enters survival mode. Slow, controlled breathing helps calm the body physically, which also helps calm the mind mentally. Simple, deep breathing during stressful moments creates stability when emotions begin rising quickly. Another important lesson is learning how to separate facts from emotional imagination. During difficult situations, many people mentally create worst-case scenarios immediately. One problem becomes 20 imagined disasters inside the mind. Fear grows because thoughts move faster than reality. A calm person learns how to focus on what is actually happening now, instead of becoming consumed by endless catastrophic thinking. Mental discipline requires learning how to observe emotions without obeying every emotion instantly. Fear may appear, but fear does not always speak truthfully. Anger may appear, but anger does not always create wise action. Anxiety may appear, but anxiety often exaggerates danger. A trained mind notices emotions while still protecting clear thinking. Many people become emotionally overwhelmed because they resist reality completely. They spend enormous energy asking why difficult things happened, instead of focusing on what must now be done. Resistance increases suffering. Acceptance creates clarity. Acceptance does not mean liking pain. It means recognizing reality so the mind can move toward practical action instead of emotional chaos. As people age, they begin understanding how temporary many emotional storms truly are. Situations that once felt impossible eventually passed. Painful seasons eventually changed. Fearful moments eventually settled. Remembering this truth helps create perspective during new challenges. Emotions often convince people that suffering will last forever, but life continues changing constantly. One powerful habit for emotional calmness is reducing unnecessary mental noise. Many minds remain overloaded daily through constant stimulation, endless worry, emotional drama, negative information, and digital overload. A restless mind becomes weaker during stress because it never fully rests. Mental quietness strengthens emotional resilience. Silence can become healing. Spending time without constant noise allows thoughts to settle. Reflection creates emotional clarity. Calm environments reduce nervous system tension. Many people fear silence because they are uncomfortable facing their own thoughts. But learning how to sit peacefully with yourself strengthens inner stability greatly. Another important skill is focusing on what can still be controlled during difficult moments. Unexpected challenges often create feelings of helplessness, but even during painful situations, certain choices remain available. You can control your attitude, your effort, your words, your breathing, your next decision, and your behavior. Focusing on controllable actions prevents the mind from drowning in helplessness. Many older adults realize too late how much damage chronic stress creates. Constant emotional tension affects sleep, health, relationships, focus, patience, and physical energy. This is why learning emotional regulation becomes essential for long-term well-being. A calm mind protects both mental and physical health during difficult periods. Another major source of emotional instability is attachment to certainty. Human beings naturally want predictable outcomes. They want guarantees about health, money, relationships, and the future. But life rarely provides complete certainty. A calmer person accepts uncertainty as part of reality instead of constantly fighting against it emotionally. Resilience grows through experience. Every challenge survived teaches the mind something valuable. Hardship often reveals strength people did not realize they possessed. A person who has already endured painful seasons develops deeper confidence in their ability to handle future difficulties. Experience becomes emotional evidence that survival is possible even during hard moments. Comparison also weakens emotional stability during challenges. Some people look at others and assume everyone else has easier lives. This mindset creates bitterness and self-pity. In reality, every person carries private struggles that may not be visible externally. Focusing on your own response creates more strength than obsessing over someone else's journey. Another valuable lesson is learning how to avoid emotional impulsiveness during stressful periods. Fear often pushes people toward rushed decisions. Anger pushes harmful words. Panic pushes desperation. Calmness creates space between emotion and action. That pause often prevents major regret. Physical health also affects emotional calmness deeply. Exhaustion weakens patience. Poor sleep increases emotional reactivity. Constant stress affects the nervous system. Movement, proper rest, hydration, and healthier habits support emotional stability because the body and mind remain connected constantly. As people grow older, they begin understanding the importance of perspective. Many situations feel overwhelming in the moment, but appear smaller with time and reflection. A trained mind learns how to zoom out mentally during difficulty. This challenge matters, but it is not the entire story of your life. One painful chapter does not define your entire future. Strong people are not emotionally numb. They still feel pain deeply. They still experience grief, fear, disappointment, and uncertainty. But they refuse to allow emotions to completely destroy their ability to think, act, and continue moving forward. Emotional control is not the absence of feeling. It is the management of feeling. One of the greatest forms of inner strength is staying composed when others lose control. Calm individuals become stabilizing forces for families, friendships, workplaces, and communities during difficult times. Their presence reduces panic because they think clearly while others react emotionally. Another important truth is that many fears never actually happen. The human mind often creates suffering through anticipation alone. People lose sleep over imagined disasters that never become reality. Training your mind means learning how to stop feeding fear with endless mental repetition. Faith in your ability to endure matters deeply. People who completely lose trust in themselves often collapse emotionally during hardship. But individuals who believe they can adapt become more resilient. Confidence does not mean believing life will always be easy. It means believing you can continue even when life becomes difficult. Gratitude also strengthens emotional calmness. During stressful seasons, many people focus only on what is wrong. This narrows perspective completely. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it reminds the mind that not everything is destroyed. Even during hardship, there are often small things still worth appreciating. A functioning body, supportive people, a safe place to rest, another day to try again. Mental calmness also requires patience with life itself. Some problems cannot be solved immediately. Some healing takes time. Some answers arrive slowly. Emotional suffering increases when people demand instant resolution for everything. Patience creates emotional endurance during uncertain periods. Many people become stronger after life challenges, not because pain itself is beautiful, but because adversity forces growth. Difficult moments reveal character. They expose weaknesses that need strengthening. They teach perspective, gratitude, humility, and resilience. A person who never faces hardship often remains emotionally fragile. As you continue aging, your ability to remain calm becomes increasingly valuable. Younger years may allow more emotional impulsiveness, but maturity requires steadiness. Family members, children, friends, and co-workers often look toward emotionally stable people during difficult moments. Your calmness can influence the emotional atmosphere around you. One peaceful truth about life is that every challenge eventually changes form. Nothing remains frozen forever. Fear shifts. Pain evolves. Circumstances move. Emotions settle. Remembering this helps reduce panic during hard seasons. You do not need to solve your entire future today. You only need to face the current moment with as much wisdom and steadiness as possible. Another important habit is speaking carefully during emotional stress. Words spoken during panic or anger often create lasting damage. Calm people learn when to remain quiet temporarily until emotions settle enough for thoughtful communication. Silence during emotional storms can prevent unnecessary regret. Your environment also affects emotional regulation. Constant negativity, chaos, toxic relationships, and overstimulation weaken mental peace. Calmness becomes easier when your surroundings support emotional balance rather than constant tension. There is great dignity in becoming emotionally steady through life's unpredictability. Calm people are not careless about problems. They simply refuse to let fear dominate their entire mind. They continue thinking clearly. They continue acting responsibly. They continue moving forward one step at a time. Life will always contain unexpected moments. No amount of planning removes all uncertainty. But you can train your mind to respond differently. You can become less reactive and more grounded, less panicked and more focused, less emotionally controlled and more emotionally disciplined. The older and wiser you become, the more you understand this truth clearly. Inner peace is not created by a perfect life. It is created by a trained mind that remains steady even when life becomes imperfect. Chapter 10. Create a meaningful future through purposeful, disciplined daily improvement. A meaningful future is not created through one major decision or one sudden moment of change. It is built quietly through disciplined daily improvement that repeats itself over time. Many people think the future is shaped by luck, timing, or external opportunity, but in reality the future is shaped most strongly by the small choices repeated every single day. How you think, how you act, how you treat your responsibilities, how you use your time, and how you manage your habits gradually build the life you will eventually live. As people grow older, they begin to understand that wasted days become wasted years. Not because life suddenly disappears, but because small delays accumulate without notice. A person does not wake up one day in a different life. They wake up in a future that was quietly built by their daily behavior. This is why discipline is not just a personality trait. It is a long-term investment in the quality of your future. A meaningful life requires direction. Without direction, a person moves through time without clarity. They react to circumstances instead of intentionally shaping them. They follow distractions instead of priorities. They repeat habits without questioning whether those habits are leading anywhere valuable. Purpose begins when a person stops living randomly and starts living intentionally. Daily improvement does not need to be dramatic. In fact, dramatic effort often fades quickly. What matters is consistency. A small improvement repeated every day becomes powerful over time. Reading a few pages daily expands knowledge. Practicing a skill regularly builds mastery. Choosing healthier habits gradually transforms physical and mental energy. Being slightly more disciplined each day slowly reshapes identity. Many people underestimate how identity is formed. Identity is not defined by what you say about yourself. It is defined by what you repeatedly do. If your actions show discipline, you begin to see yourself as disciplined. If your actions show avoidance, you begin to see yourself as someone who delays growth. The mind builds identity based on evidence, not intention alone. A purposeful life requires honest self-evaluation. You cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge. Many people avoid looking at their habits clearly because truth can feel uncomfortable. But clarity is necessary for change. When you clearly see where time is wasted, where energy is lost, and where behavior is inconsistent, you gain the ability to correct your direction. One of the most important parts of building a meaningful future is understanding that discipline creates freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive because it requires structure, effort, and sacrifice. But over time, discipline removes chaos, it reduces stress, it creates stability, it builds confidence. A disciplined person does not live in constant confusion. They know what matters and they act accordingly. A meaningful future also depends on the ability to delay comfort for long-term reward. Many people struggle because they prioritize immediate satisfaction over future stability. They choose short-term ease instead of long-term strength. But every meaningful achievement requires temporary discomfort. Growth often feels difficult before it becomes beneficial. The ability to persist through discomfort is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. As life continues moving forward, you begin to realize that your future self is shaped by your current behavior. Every responsible action today becomes strength for tomorrow. Every ignored responsibility becomes a burden later. Every disciplined choice becomes stability in the future. Every careless habit becomes a limitation later in life. The future is not random. It is constructed gradually through repeated action. Purpose is not something you find suddenly. It is something you develop through consistent engagement with meaningful activity. When a person commits to daily improvement, they slowly begin to discover what matters most to them. Purpose becomes clearer through action, not waiting. Many people remain confused about their purpose because they are not actively building anything meaningful in their daily life. A disciplined daily routine is one of the strongest foundations for a meaningful future. Routine reduces decision fatigue. It removes unnecessary confusion. It creates structure in daily life. When your days are structured, your mind becomes clearer. When your actions are organized, your energy becomes more stable. Routine turns intention into reality. One important lesson about future building is understanding that small habits compound over time. A single healthy decision may seem insignificant, but repeated consistently it becomes transformation. A single moment of focus may seem small, but repeated daily it becomes mastery. A single act of responsibility may seem minor, but repeated over years it becomes character. Many people struggle because they expect immediate transformation. They want results quickly. When results do not appear fast enough, they lose motivation. But meaningful change rarely happens quickly. It develops slowly beneath the surface before becoming visible. Discipline requires patience with unseen progress. A purposeful life also requires eliminating unnecessary habits that drain energy without contributing value. Many people fill their days with distractions, habits, and routines that provide comfort but no direction. These habits may feel harmless individually, but collectively they weaken progress. Removing unproductive habits is just as important as building productive ones. Another important aspect of creating a meaningful future is learning how to take responsibility for your time. Time is the most limited resource in life. Once it is gone, it cannot be recovered. Many people spend years without realizing how much time is being wasted. Awareness of time creates urgency without panic. It encourages intentional living instead of careless repetition. A disciplined future builder understands that effort must be consistent even when motivation is absent. Motivation is temporary. It changes depending on mood, environment, and circumstances. Discipline is stable. It continues even when motivation disappears. People who rely only on motivation struggle with consistency. People who rely on discipline build lasting progress. Meaningful futures are also shaped by the ability to reflect regularly. Reflection helps identify mistakes, adjust direction, and strengthen awareness. Without reflection, people often repeat the same errors for years. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It allows growth to become intentional instead of accidental. As people age, they often realize that regret comes from missed consistency more than missed opportunities. Many opportunities were available, but not acted upon consistently enough. A meaningful future is created by showing up repeatedly even when progress feels slow. Consistency builds trust in yourself and creates real transformation over time. Purposeful living also involves understanding that not every day will feel productive or inspiring. Some days feel heavy. Some days feel slow. Some days feel uncertain. But disciplined people continue anyway. They do not wait for perfect conditions. They work with the conditions they have. This mindset builds resilience and long-term stability. Another important truth is that environment plays a major role in shaping your future. The people you spend time with, the habits you are surrounded by, and the energy of your daily environment influence your behavior more than you realize. A supportive environment makes discipline easier. A negative environment makes discipline harder. Choosing your environment wisely is part of building your future. A meaningful future also requires emotional maturity. Emotional reactions can easily disrupt discipline if not managed properly. Anger, fear, frustration, and doubt can lead to poor decisions. Learning how to pause, reflect, and respond calmly helps maintain consistency even during emotional moments. Daily improvement is not about perfection. It is about direction. A person does not need to be perfect to build a meaningful future. They only need to be consistently moving in the right direction. Even small improvements, when repeated daily, create significant transformation over time. As your future develops through disciplined action, you begin to notice changes in your mindset. You become more confident because you trust your habits. You become more stable because your life has structure. You become more focused because distractions no longer control your attention as strongly. You become more peaceful because your life is aligned with intention rather than chaos. A meaningful future is built quietly. It does not require constant recognition. It does not require approval from others. It grows through private discipline, repeated effort, and steady improvement. No one sees most of the work at the beginning, but over time the results become visible through the quality of your life. The older you become, the more you understand that success is not a single destination. It is the result of how you live each day. A meaningful future is simply the outcome of meaningful daily habits, repeated with discipline and patience. Every day offers a new opportunity to improve slightly. One better decision. One more responsible action. One small step forward. These moments seem ordinary, but they quietly shape the entire direction of your life. A purposeful future is not something you wait for. It is something you build deliberately through consistent daily improvement that continues regardless of motivation, circumstances, or emotional state.